Systems. Today I'm going over our hiring and termination automation. This one is also a very powerful hiring tool. So basically we use Gusto Payroll in combination with this. Gusto actually handles all the onboarding paperwork. So this basically, a lot of the instructions are integrated with Gusto as they see we don't have to physically handle any of the paperwork. So this whole process, basically we have a form that when, for our website, that when applicants are directed basically from Indeed, from Craigslist, all different recruiting sources, they're all sent to our website to enter them into our database. Once they're entered, depending on the position they apply for, it applies a tag for field worker or office or manager or mechanic, and then all these processes are based off of that. So basically this one starts the process off. So an applicant, when they apply for a job, it triggers this sequence. It's going to see if they're a field applicant. If there's a field applicant, it instructs the office to do a screening. And everything in here has the instructions for it, but it's going to tell them to do a background check. If they check clean, apply applicant clean to their account. If they're not clean, you copy and paste the record into the timeline so we know why. So we know there's a bad background and we don't move forward. Basically applying this applicant clean will trigger the automation to move forward with the hiring process. But if they have bad background, we don't want to even do that. So basically all field applicants are always hiring. The only difference on here is in the other applications, we don't check their background or move forward unless we're hiring for the position. But we're always hiring for field positions because it's such a high turnover position. So basically, once that applicant tag is added, we do their background check. We know they're good. It's going to trigger this automation. So it's going to text. This is kind of a test for them. We do a phone interview and an in-person interview. The purpose of this is when we stick them in the field, we already tested them to make sure they're reliable. So we don't want to tell them, yeah, show up to work tomorrow, plan on them, and they don't show up. We'd rather test them, see if they come to the interview, see if they call before we tell them, yeah, show up to work tomorrow, and we actually count on them. So it basically is just a filter for bad employees before we hire them. It makes them intentionally go through a lot of legwork to get a job. So we know they want it, and we know they're going to show up to work. So once the office administrator checks their background, finds out they're clean, it's going to text them, let them know to check their email in case they don't normally check their email, telling them to call in for a phone interview between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. So this is just asking them some preliminary questions. The office lady is going to feel them out. And this whole process will stop when she fills out the form. So if they don't call in, she's not going to fill out the form. She's going to keep going. It's going to wait 5 days. It's going to email them again, telling them, hey, we haven't heard from you yet. It's going to wait 3 days, and it's going to tell the office lady to close the lead because they already failed the first test. They didn't call in for their interview. But presuming they call in, this one is going to be based off of the phone interview form completed. So once the applicant does call in, she's going to fill out the phone interview form. Once that form is completed, it's going to trigger, depending on what position they're applying for, it's going to trigger an interview right here. So for the field applicants, it's going to schedule an in-person interview and email them with the time to meet. And if one of the questions on this phone interview is, do we want to hire them? So if the form's completed, we say, nah, on the phone, this guy really didn't sound good. It's going to email them, thanking them for applying. Otherwise, it's going to proceed forward to the in-person interview. So we skip forward over here. In-person interview form is completed. One of the questions on this form is asking them if we want to hire them yet. If they need a week, we'll ask them if we want to hire them now or if they need some time. So basically, if on the form the manager says, I'm not sure if we need them yet, it'll apply a tag that they're deciding. It'll email them, thank you, we'll get back to you in a week. It's then going to wait a week and remind the manager to let them know if we want to hire them. And if we do want to hire them, it's going to check the references. And anywhere in this process, we have this tag, this process, employee hired. So when we do want to hire an employee, like sometimes lately they've been skipping these processes. I don't really like it because these are filters, but you can skip ahead and just apply an employee hired tag. If we do that, it's going to officially, hire the employee. It's going to text and check their email. It's going to email them kind of a welcome packet explaining to them how we work, our handbook, that sort of thing. It's going to create tasks for onboarding for the office administrator, what she needs to do to onboard this person. So all these different tasks that need to get done, checking their social security card, getting their uniforms, calling their if they're a referral. So we have in our handbook, if one of our existing employees refers them, it's going to create a task for the office lead to reward that person with a referral bonus. If it's a foreman, we need to apply a tag if they're going to run a crew, because there's different checklists. If they're running a crew, they need key sets, health card, that sort of thing. Work Immersion, this is a program where you can get your wages reimbursed 50% from the state. So this is a really big deal. We missed a couple last year, but in Rhode Island anyway, if the person hasn't worked in a certain number of months or they're in school, there's a grant through the Governor's Workforce Board that will reimburse us 50% for their wages for, like, I think it's 20 weeks. There's a question on their application. If they live out of state, we need to do a BCI. So if they check yes, they lived out of state in the past 3 years, it's going to create a BCI. It's going to wait 14 days, and we order them business cards. This is to make sure, I don't know why it's disagreeing here, but it's going to make sure that they stick around once they've been working for 2 weeks, and then we'll order them business cards, which we put in our marketing for our flyers. We kind of already went over this, the foreman tag. So if they're a foreman, there's a few other things need to get done. They need to inventory their trailer, get keys. We need to revise their pay rate to reflect the foreman wage, go over their job responsibilities, give them a tablet, a health card. Right here, termination. So this basically checks to see this if we terminate an employee, which this is triggered off of removing the employee tag. Then we're going to make sure that we collect certain items from them. We are going to get our key sets back from them, inventory. It's going to create tasks for the office leader, deactivate them in SA, remove them from payroll, cancel all their services, close their credit card. So basically everything we assign to them, we're going to undo if we fire them. Emails the employees a questionnaire asking them why they quit for our own internal use. So that's basically our hiring automation. Very powerful, very effective. Basically, most of the purpose of most of these automations is to make sure that things happen the way that I want them to happen, in the way that they're written in the handbook, to make sure that we do what we're going to do. So that's the end of the hiring termination automation. Again, eventually I'm going to have these all in the marketplace and have them customized to your business. You can check out my website, readybusinesssystems.com, for more information. Catch you guys next time.